Welcome back. We're gonna be making a new project today. It's called the Jumping Spider Project, and that's inspired by Halloween. So if you have any trick-or-treaters that you want to scare off, we're gonna create the perfect project for that. So we're gonna start off with the base. It'll be 3 pieces. So you have your block. Yours might be a little bit bigger. We have our support beam on top, and then we have a rod. So this is pretty simple. This goes in here. You can squeeze it on, or if you have a hammer, you can put all this together, then hammer it on. Like that, check it out. Alright, if you noticed, I moved this around and had the longer piece sticking out this way, and that's for balance. We're gonna have a lot of weight here. Right, so we want this to hold it back, and we want this to be on the edge of the table. So if this were a table edge right here, you want it to be hanging over that. Alright, so that's your base. Next up, we'll start the electronic portion, and for that we'll need aluminum. You need your block. This is your switch block, and you'll see why it's called that pretty soon. You need your battery pack, 2 batteries, and you will need cable and your motor, just like that. Alright, we'll start by splitting this piece of aluminum foil in half, the long way, so lengthwise, just like this. Okay, then we take off a little chunk of that, and we'll take off a little chunk off of that one. So we have about 2 equal pieces, almost. All right, and you want to make these really skinny. So you want to fold them over. Just like that. You could also scrunch them up. Like that. Either way works. So to start this part up, we want to strip the ends of this cable. So if you have a wire stripper, this will be very easy. You put it in the smallest hole and you just strip off the cable a little bit at a time. Slip it this way. And there it is. You can see my exposed copper right there. If you don't have a wire stripper, we can use scissors very effectively so you start off by unwinding your cable, just like that, straighten everything out. You grab your scissors and you use the edge of the scissor on the edge of a table. So you put pressure on your cable like this, and you pull back. And just keep doing that until it strips. So it may break, but eventually it'll strip. So put pressure and pull back. There it is. So we have 2 exposed wires, and they're exposed on each end. Alright, so next up, we're gonna grab the 2 pieces of aluminum that you set aside, and we're gonna wrap them on the ends of this long cable. Right, so it's only on one end. We'll start with this one. So you fold it over a couple times, lengthwise like that, and you'll notice that right away it wants to slip out. So you have to fold it in half, the short way, and make a little pad like that. We'll do the same over here. And again, so this cable doesn't slip out, we're gonna fold it in half, just like that. Okay, so next up, with the same long cable. So we're going to attach these to the motor. So one side goes to one end, one of these little ears. You attach it through there, and you twist it a couple times, just like that. Then you grab your other cable and you do the opposite end. You do not want these cables touching, so make sure you twist them in a manner that they don't touch each other. There it is. Alright, so next up, you're gonna grab your base. We grab our hot glue gun. And we're gonna put some glue right on top of here. And we're gonna glue this motor with the vents to the sideways. See these little vents right here? You do not want to put hot glue in there. So you want to make sure they are facing away from the hot glue. And then you want to put your motor right on the edge. You want to make sure that it's sticking a bit up from the top of the block. You can see there how much is sticking up. You just reinforce it a little bit. Just like that. Okay, then you grab your cable, you can wrap it around the stem a couple times. And these pads need to be glued onto this base. You want to make sure they're on the edges of the block that we gave you. So your block might be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. Make sure they're on the edges of the block. That's going to tell you where you got to glue these on. So it looks pretty good right there. I'll put some glue here. Put my first pad. Then we'll measure right there. So I'll put some glue there. Put my second pad. Just like that. You do not want to put glue on the tops of these because these need to make contact with our battery terminals or our battery pack. Alright, so now let's move on to the battery pack. You can grab this, it'll be pre-stripped for you. These are a little bit harder, so we did it for you. And it's the same idea as this. We're going to attach these aluminum, these longer strips onto these. So you can wrap it around a couple times. And then fold it over on itself. Make sure it's nice and tight. At this point, you could even use tape. So we've got a strip of tape. And we'll cut it like that. And you can use this to hold this terminal together. We'll do the same thing on the opposite end. Alright, there it is. Right now, you have your positive side, your negative side. We're still not putting batteries in there because they can short circuit. So we'll put these in on at the end. Now you want to grab your little block and we're going to glue these aluminum strips onto it. One of them is going to go on the left side, one of them is going to go on the right side. So I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to start with the cable right here, hot gluing that on, and then just wrap it all the way around. You keep going right here, just go over the cable. And then when you finish, you want to put glue on the strip itself, because just like over here, we do not want to put glue on the top of this. So I put glue on the bottom of the strip, and there it is. That's one side. Let's do the second side. Okay, there we go. Now to finish this off, get another piece of tape. And you want to secure these cables onto the block. You want to make sure that they don't move around too much. So I'm going to wrap this around here. And there it is. There's your battery pack. And then you can grab your batteries and install them. And all of this was to make a double throw, double pull switch. So you have your positive right here, your negative right there, positive here, negative here. You make sure your motor go clockwise. And then when you flip this around, you're changing the polarity. So negative's on this side now and positive's on this side. And then you switch it around. And once you put this together, you'll notice that it'll spin one direction and then the other. So that was the main body of your project. Now we're gonna move on to the head of this motor. So you should have a poker chip, a fat glue stick, and a piece of string. Right, so check your glue stick, make sure it has a hole in it. If it doesn't have a hole, you can use something like a push pin, like this one, and poke a hole all the way really deep in there. Smooth it around a little bit, and that should be good enough to get you going. So the reason we want this hole is to put it onto the end of your motor. And you squish it on, just squeeze it on. You don't want to make it go all the way to the back of the motor where it'll make contact with it. You want to make sure that this spins freely. All right. Then you grab your glue gun. Oops. Grab your glue gun, put a big glob of glue right up here. You're gonna put your poker chip right in the middle. Just like that. See that? Okay, then you grab your string. And then this thing, you can either, let's it up here. This one you can either tie it on or glue it on. So I'm gonna glue it on just so to make sure that it's secure. I'm gonna put a little tiny bit of glue right here and then wrap it around that. Just like that. And we'll let that dry. All right, so now once this is dry, you can see that it's nice and tight there. It's not gonna come off. And now we can work on our little jumping spider. And let me just demonstrate this real quick. I wanna show you how this switch works. Okay, here's a little arrow just to show you which way it's spinning. You see right now it's spinning that direction, and then when you flip this around over like that, it'll spin in the opposite direction. See that? Alright, and that's what's gonna make your little spider jump. Alright, let's make the little spider. So for your spider, you'll have some pom-poms, you have some pipe cleaners, you have a bunch of googly eyes, And if you have some paper, you can use paper. This does not have to be a spider. It could be whatever you want it to be. But yeah, I'm gonna just make a little spider with 8 legs. So you'll cut this into 4 pieces. You can make them as long or as tiny as you want. See that? And just at this point, just get creative with however you want to do this. Okay, so obviously spiders have 8 legs. So we put 8 legs on there. And obviously they only have 2 eyes. I think they have way more than 2 eyes. Right, so it's not anatomically correct, but it is pretty scary looking. I wouldn't want to be surprised by that thing. So, how do you attach it? There's 1,000 ways to attach this. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to give it a little copete, just a little bun right here, just like that, and twist that, right? And then you can put glue on top of that, and you can wrap your string around that. Just twist it on like that. That'll make it pretty secure. Okay, now you can put this thing wherever you want. If you're clever enough, you'll figure out a different kind of switch. But let me show you what it does. Whoa, see how fast that was? And you can deploy it to scare the kids away just by switching the block. See that? If your spider's having trouble staying up, it might be a little too heavy, so you can reduce some weight, make a couple different ones, right? Oh. It'll frequently get tangled up, but that's all right. It's pretty easy to detangle. Alright. If you feel that your spider is a little too fast or just out of control, you can take one of these batteries out. Just like that. Get a bunch of aluminum. And you make a battery replacement. Something like that. And then you put that where the battery would go. And that reduces your voltage by half by removing that battery. So check it out. See how it's a little bit weaker now, but it's also slower. See that? What's this? It's pretty good. All right, enjoy.